There it is.
Play
Welcome
ball,
back,
boys.
Degenerates, to the number one betting show on earth. This is Betting the Diagonal. I'm here with my long lost friend Morgan Watkins after his week off, 2 weeks off. Who knows
That's
how long he
RP
had the
light,
power.
baby.
And we're back with Greggy. Greg, you want here to talk some NBA with us?
Yes, sir.
This is what we're talking about. We're talking NBA special, the special edition. We were supposed to do a bonus episode last week, but Morgan's still rubbing two sticks together. So now it's Monday night, and we're hyped. We're ready to go.
When you live out in the middle of nowhere, out in the boonies in Pennsylvania, around Pennsylvania, Virginia, you know what you call it, we lose power pretty easily. So we got to put the sticks together, huddle up a little bit of warmth. We take the shirts off, get a little warm. We got a little bit of
you need to do it
here, I'm talking
Oh my
about
God.
somehow. So, but we are live. We are ready to gamble again. We're hot, baby. We're feeling great.
And he is also very drunk.
Not
It's Bachelorette night.
It is.
You know what that means, folks.
We're going to have minus 500 odds on Zach C to win tomorrow night. We're going to put plus 273 on Ivan to win. We're also going to put a special teaser in there for a plus 759 that nobody wins, and Tasha goes home single. We'll come back to that in another episode, though.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for your breakdown when the new season comes up. I can't wait.
Those who are listening, the Bachelor season starts January 4th. We will have a Bachelor special coming up. I have been crunching the numbers. I have been analyzing the data. I have been checking out the contestants thoroughly for the past week. I know them up and down. I can tell you their measurements probably at this point because I am focusing so much on this season. We're going to have odds coming to you next week. We're going to have gambling odds ready for this. I will tell you who my pick is, who I think is going to win, who I think is going to be out of here on the first night. I think is going to get the first impression rose, but we're locked in, ready to roll.
Yep.
Morgan, who are you co-hosting with?
I am the host. There is no co-host.
Yeah, you're just going to host it? All right.
No, it should be him and Kevin. Him and naked Kevin.
Oh,
Me
yeah?
and Kevin over here.
Oh,
We
stop
are
showing
live
Kevin.
we're live from the gambling cave. We got Tits McGee on the cams.
Get Kevin off my screen.
All right, it's going to be Kevin unless you have some notes, Bill.
Kevin's a big, heavy favorite gambler. That's what he does. He's a math teacher. You couldn't tell by his titties, but he's a math teacher. Anyway, let's get this.
You couldn't tell by the fact that we are recording at 12:19 in the morning, and he's got to be up in 3 hours to go teach class.
He's still not going to bed.
And we're still playing 2K.
Anyway, let's get to some NBA before Morgan passes out. We had our NBA fantasy draft last night, and I gotta say,
did.
This is the first time since college, so almost 10 years since I did an NBA draft. And guess what? I came out on top. It was simple as that. I'm the best there is, and there's nothing else to it.
How are you going to say that?
How am I going to say that?
How are you going to say that?
I mean,
you're not even projected the most points in week one.
Second most, actually. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't the most.
Well, yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and guess who's projected the least?
Oh, Mike.
100%.
Of course. I already shit on him. He's like, well, you don't even know how the scoring works. I'm like, I read it. Seemed pretty straightforward to me. Most points, most rebounds, most assists, most steals. You rack up the stats, you get the points. Seems pretty easy to me.
Yeah, that's how it works.
But I know Morgan's team stinks because
the boys think it's easy. But the thing is, it's not as easy as they think. This is not middle school basketball. I'm picking the tallest guy who's just going to put his hand up over little Kevin over there. These little guys over here. We're not just going to put our hands up and just drop the ball down. This is the NBA we're talking here. I'm the NBA aficionado at betting the diagonal. I know what I'm talking about. This is what I do. I bet the NBA. I know the NBA. I can tell you every 15 guy on every 15-man roster. That's what I do. I come into this fantasy draft. It's a sure thing that I'm going to win. My team might not be the highest projected team. He might not be the lowest projected team. At the end of the team, my team is going to be the one on top because my team knows how to win. I draft winners for my team.
And Greg, your opinions on how bad your draft went? Because
well, I was
now hold on, not to burst anybody's bubble. Now that it's after the fact, you were driving while while drafting, which is
I was
highly
driving and
illegal, but
drafting,
that's neither here nor
illegal
there.
in 25 states. And
Well, no, actually, I don't think there's a rule against fantasy drafting and driving.
There's a rule against texting, but not fantasy drafting.
Yeah, you weren't texting
You're
anything.
safe. You're good.
You're right. I mean, although not illegal, difficult.
Frowned upon.
I will say,
in the mid-round picks.
Yes, frowned upon.
Yes, I will certainly say the last time I did draft a team while driving was my fantasy football team this season for my money league, and I happened to go 1-12. So I don't know if that's an omen for your season. It certainly was a bad omen for my season. We sucked. My team name was somehow worse than the Jets, and actually I am worse than the Jets right now because they won a game. So
God bless the Jets.
I'm hoping I don't make it a trend. I'm hoping I don't make it a trend, Morgan, because I got who I wanted at 3. I was going him the whole way. I got Luka, and the rest of the draft didn't go as planned. But
I got my guy. That's all that matters.
This happened at least 4 times last night that I was up next, and who I was looking at got drafted right before me.
Morgan, how's that feel? Because I drafted half of your team.
That was my favorite and least favorite part of the draft because my entire draft was built around somehow Luka sneaking to pick nine overall. Because Billy and I ran probably about 10 mock drafts, and every single I won't say every single one, but the last few we ran, Luka fell every single time. And I knew that was wrong.
That's crazy to me.
Well, what I found out was that the rankings on whenever you do a mock draft or the ADP, no matter what platform you draft on, it's for categories because over 75% of leagues are categories instead of points.
Right.
So I was like, I found that out literally 40 minutes before the draft, and I was like, oh, I figured this all out. It's not about the ADP at all.
So that's why all the rankings changed.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan was extremely prepared for the point scoring system that we had. I got a special little algorithm that we run to make sure that we're special little speakers here and there. One of my favorite picks happened to be Deontay Murray. I believe it was either the 8th or 9th round I got him. I know a lot of people gave me a little bit of shit for that pick. My man Deontay Murray, he's going to put up some points for me. He's going to put the stat. He might not score 20 points tonight. He's going to put up at least 10. He's going to give me assists. He's going to give me rebounds. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. It's all about putting them points up, baby.
I mean, I thought I had to steal the draft by drafting Derek White. I thought it was a steal of the draft.
That's just what round did you get him in?
Oh, I think it was the 11th or 12th.
Yeah. I feel like the Spurs just have a lot of those players that you could have drafted late, and one of them's going to pan out because they always do. Last year, it probably didn't run this late, but Keldon Johnson in the bubble just balled out.
Yeah. Did it fantasy run till the bubble, or was it where they shut it down?
No, fantasy was the bubble.
It ran to the bubble?
Okay, yeah.
Bubble, yeah. Keldon was a big-time stream pick for a lot of teams in fantasy. He was a hot waiver commodity, I won't lie. I did not get him in my last season. It is what it is. I happened to get very fortunate in the league that I was in that TJ Warren was actually available on the waiver wire. I would definitely take TJ Warren over Keldon in that circumstance. However, I'm very high on Keldon's potential moving forward. Calipari guards, they do well in the NBA. It just takes a little minute. Go from Calipari to Popovich. I like my chances there. That's a great pick.
Oh,
yeah. Everyone finds their Jalen Hurts fantasy winner.
God. Too bad you didn't make the playoffs, so
I know.
It doesn't even matter.
I know, but it's just comparison. There's always at the end of the season that waiver wire league winner,
like James Robinson, or
I'm going to put this out there right now for all the betting diagonal fans. Betting the Diagonal is a pro Carson Wentz podcast.
I knew you were.
We do not stand with Jalen Hurts. We stand with Carson Wentz.
I can tell you
you're going to be buying a Colts jersey next year.
To last week's episode, because we were ranting and raving how much better Jalen Hurts was without you, and it was glorious.
Billy can attest. I've been calling it since week 7, week 8. I'm like, Peterson, you got to get him in.
Mm-hmm. He's been calling it before that, but like to more than just like two people. He's been calling it now.
Yeah. Boys, my iPad's gonna die too, so I'm gonna switch over to my phone real quick.
Okay, go ahead. We're gonna keep talking.
I've been beating the drum with Billy for weeks. I will die on Carson Wentz mountain. I will not come off of that mountain. Yeah, I said
I will. I'll be at your funeral, Morgan.
I will be there.
I'll be back.
I will have the 21 gun salute for Carson because he's going to go down as one of the greatest. I already have a future bet with Billy already for next year that Carson Wentz will win Most Improved Player of the Year. I am extremely confident of that. I believe he will be an Eagles starting quarterback come week 1 next season. I think he might lead the league in touchdown passes next year.
It's amazing. I'm sorry. It's just amazing. You think he's going to win Most Improved Player after the career he's had, and then just a straight downfall. You don't get. That's not how Most Improved Player works. That's just not how it works.
I'm sorry. I got distracted by
I just saw him too. You're good. I know you saw him like after I did, but
I saw him in the camera, and I couldn't help just look and be like, "Damn."
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Oh,
we got the buns are out tonight, boys.
I don't know.
Boys, I'm back.
Greg's back. I was just about to ask if he's back because I want to move into some NBA futures. You want to go MVP first? You want to go NBA championship? What are you guys feeling? Let's let Greg kick it off because Morgan hasn't shut up.
All right.
It's the hat, I know.
Let's start with some MVP futures.
Oh, look at that chin.
Yeah, so... Well, who's got the chin? I have the chin. Really? Move it a different angle.
There. Right. Oh, look. That's a selfie angle. There you go.
This is a selfie angle. So, all right. So everyone and their mother would be smart to play Giannis at plus 450. Yeah? Can we agree on that?
Yeah, it's a solid choice.
It's a solid choice. But I do have a mid-tier, I guess you could call it, gamble on James Harden. Plus 1,100, pretty good odds. You know, he's clearly going to put up the numbers on the team. Once again, I don't care how overweight he is now.
He looks like Kevin who keeps walking back and forth with the camera.
Kevin's in better shape. Don't diss him like that.
That's true. I do. There is value there because he's done this before. He's showed up to camp like 30 pounds overweight, and then like 2 weeks, he just cuts it all. Like, people forget he's a professional athlete. You know? Yeah, it's not like Morgan trying to lose 50 pounds. It's like in 2 weeks, that's gone, and he's in prime time shape, ready for the championship.
I'm keeping my mouth shut. It's not my turn.
I was about to say, are you going to take that, Morgan?
Quiet. It's not my turn to talk. I'll come back. Don't worry.
You have, all right, that's fair. You'll have the floor.
What else you got for us?
Past that, I just had my long shot. Give me John Morant. Give me John Morant. No, I'm not going to say Kobe White. That team's going to be underwhelming. They may put up points, but yeah, I got John Morant as my long shot, plus 10,000. You know, you don't have to put much on that to make money if he has as good a year, and I expect better.
I like that a lot, actually.
You know, they're plus 10,000.
Like, you can just throw a wee bit of money on that, and you can reap the benefits if it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, highly doubt it, you know, but he's as electrifying as a player as I've seen since, you know, Westbrook coming to the league and, you know, Iverson being in the same, you know, category for that position.
Interesting.
You know, in terms of athleticism.
Yeah. No, I know where you were going. Morgan's a little confused. But no, I don't hate that, actually. I'm a big John Moran guy. I really wish, like, in our fantasy draft he would have fell. Like, obviously there was no shot. But I like that a lot. Like, you're not on the Luka train. Like, you just don't think he's just gonna run away with it this year. Or you just
I think he could absolutely run away with it. I think he can. But you know, I would rather put my money on Giannis. And who knows? Maybe I'll put a little sprinkle on Luka. But I don't know. I mean, like, triple doubles don't always win MVPs.
True. Westbrook can tell you that.
Exactly.
Like currently, the line for Luka is plus 275 on a book I see, and then
Really?
I know Morgan took that bet a couple months ago, and he's got it at plus 1400. So like, there's value there, but I don't think there's any value anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I saw him as. He was not the favorite though.
There's a couple mid-tier guys that look interesting. I don't know how well their teams.
Oh wow, Luka is the favorite.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so weird. What I'm looking at didn't even have it in order. They had Giannis on top of Luka.
I know. They have Giannis at 450 and then Luka at 275.
Yeah, that's what threw me off there.
It must have just changed.
Who knows?
I don't hate Jason Tatum. I think he's going to take a massive role especially with Kemba out first couple months, and then like even then so he'll have more involvement, especially with bringing the ball up, and offense essentially completely running through him, like without Kemba, without the other lead scorer. But then when Kemba comes back, he can take a little bit of the ball handling workload off and do what he does best and get open and
play off ball.
Be that score maker. I know Morgan's gonna love this one. It's kind of like in my opinion, it's a long shot. Vegas seems to disagree. Joel Embiid, I think he's gonna have an absolute monster year. Him, and then let's see. I do love that John Morant bet. I really do. I might take that.
Yeah, it's worth a sprinkle.
Oh yeah, I mean everything's worth a sprinkle nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Like who would have thought? Who would have thought the Jets would have won? That was worth a sprinkle. Morgan,
sure
your
was.
turn. What do you got for us?
All right. Now that I've kind of bit my tongue for a couple minutes, let you guys do your thing. Go off. Let me got the little stove here because we're ready to celebrate some championships. We're ready to celebrate some easy pick wins. We already kind of touched on it. Got to be the odds on favorites, Luka. I have Luka at plus 300 currently. I was fortunate enough to get him at plus 1400. Amazing odds right there. I got him probably, I want to say at least 2 to 3 months ago at this point. I'm loving life. You can't complain about that.
Yeah.
Some of my other ones that I love. I do love LeBron this year at plus 900. Great value in LeBron. Everyone is on this like, oh, it's LeBron. Everyone forgets that LeBron might be the best of all time.
Hey, whoa. None of that in this podcast, bro. None of that in this podcast.
I said might.
There's no might. There's no might.
My best of all time will always go down as Kobe. We're going to go Kobe.
That argument will last hours.
Yeah. It will. It absolutely will. However, let's digress. If I'm sitting here, just thinking about who I don't think is going to win a title this year, who do I like? Well, I like Dame time. I'm just going to sit there, look at that watch a little bit. It's Dame time, boys. Dame time. Plus 1,800 to win MVP this season. The Trailblazers getting Robert Covington is an extremely underrated move. That is something that they desperately needed, was a defensive presence on their team. And while you might not think of Robert Covington as a defensive presence per se, for the past 3 years, he has been in the top 5 every year in steals and deflections. Another one that I like that's a little bit lower down the board, my favorite. Oh, I need to stop for this one. Give me a second.
My favorite. Quick, while he's gone, I just want to say on my book, I have Dame time at plus 950.
So that's either way. I'm a big Dame guy, right? I have him on Odd Shark right now, but my bigger not as long as what was it, John Moran? Whoever what we were talking about.
That's long.
Whoever likes my odds, my boy here, my man. He's a big fan of Stokes, just like myself. He's a big fan of Russian vodka as well. His name is Nikola Jokic.
I knew you were going to go there.
He puts up about 24, 25 a night. He's going to put about 8 assists, 7 assists per night. He's going to give you at least 12 rebounds per night. He's going to shoot about 35 to 40% from three. Not going to turn the ball over. He's going to shoot about 80% from the free throw line. Free throw line is where you make your money in the NBA. When you bet NBA, you bet teams who are going to hit their free throws. That is a huge, big pick right there.
Absolutely.
Nikola Jokic, my man, he's not the most dominant center. I believe Joel Embiid, when healthy, is the most dominant center in the NBA. However, I will say that Nikola Jokic is the best overall center in the NBA.
Agreed.
And the NBA is now shifting, I think, a little bit back towards the big man, where we're seeing a little bit more of a big man kind of out there. I love the chances Nikola Jokic is going to give me this season. I do love the Joel Embiid. However, I do love that Nikola Jokic is getting plus 3,000, whereas Joel is getting 2,500.
Wow.
Man, I really need to get onto those Pennsylvania books because that's a great number that I just don't have. I like Jokic, but I just think that the NBA, like I say it all the time. I know you're here to prove me wrong over and over again. I think that it's an entertainment business at the end of the day. They're not gonna just hand the MVP over to Nikola just because he was the best player. Like if he has similar numbers to Luka or similar numbers to Giannis, they're just gonna give it to him for the viewership. That's just my opinion. And like I have him at plus 1350. I don't find enough value for him. If he was down towards like plus 5,500 or even 3,500, it's worth it. What about how do you guys feel about Zion year 2? Plus,
I don't have any feelings towards it.
No, none, neither one.
I don't know. I mean, one day.
I like Zion.
Too soon.
I like Zion. The problem I have with Zion right now is his body is not built for the NBA. His body is built to dominate college basketball. His body is built as a 6'7", 288, 290-pound guy in the Charles Barkley mold that had great success in the 90s.
Yes.
We're not in the 90s anymore.
But you just said we're kind of moving back.
We are. However, what does Zion not do great that a lot of these big men can still do these days?
Shoot.
He doesn't shoot the three that great. He's not a great jump shooter in general. What is Ben Simmons' biggest drawback in the NBA? He can't shoot.
He's not very good.
You collapse the paint. Zion might be the better athlete than Ben is overall. But if you can't shoot, the defense is going to collapse in on you. And that center, Rudy Gobert, as I'm going to refer to him for the rest of the evening instead of Gobert, he's going to sit down there and just wait for you. He's going to put that big French paw up, and he's going to swat that motherfucker right out of there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love Zion. I love his future. I think he's going to have a great career. I don't think he's going to ever live up to what everyone thinks he's going to be, but I think he'll have a great career.
I think that if he cuts some weight, there's a possibility. I just brought it up because the value's there for him, and because they're going to try to push Zion in the future with LeBron leaving the league. It's going to be Ja Morant, Luka.
Yeah, they need a new face.
They need a new face, and Luka's like that Dirk face. He's a timid guy. He's not, and like same thing with Giannis. Like, yeah, he's one of the most gifted people we've ever seen touch a basketball, but at the end of the day, he's too timid. They want a face, and Zion could be that face. I also think that
you need to.
If we're going to compare, yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get it before I forgot. If we're going to compare Ben Simmons to Zion, Zion can shoot the lights out of the gym compared to Ben.
Compared to Simmons, absolutely.
Yes, Shaq could make more threes than Ben Simmons out of 10.
I mean, that seems like a ton of Ben slander right there.
I'm a big Ben Simmons guy.
We're not going to attack my 10-9, 876ers tonight. But I think a big thing that we also got to think about is the NBA of all of the big four sports is the most international sport that there is.
Mm-hmm.
What is going to draw the most fans? We draw fans from China. We draw fans from Israel, from Spain. You name it, we got fans coming to the NBA. The NBA, for what it's worth, it benefits the NBA more so than any other league to have an international MVP. So I think that is a very underrated thing you think of when you look at Giannis, when you look at Luka, Jokic, these international guys who are, sorry, Jared is FaceTiming me currently. It threw me off my rhythm a little bit. Let's get rid of that.
He must have finally did this PC. Shout out to Jared who made the name of this podcast because he doesn't know how to gamble.
Shout out, Jared. We are not Jared stands here. Anyway, back on my.
Just got to give him the shout out.
No, we take it away. We don't. He beat me in the fantasy football championship last year. We don't acknowledge his existence.
Real quick, he didn't beat you. I beat you.
Yeah, suck my cock while you're at it.
Yikes.
Yeah, this is what we do on this pod here, Greg. Get ready for this.
I've heard
and heavy
episodes.
real quick.
But if you don't mind if I make a point real quick.
Yeah,
I do love the international aspect of the MVP. You know, when you brought up Jokic and the number that came along with it, that's a great line for, you know, probably the best stretch five we've seen since Dirk. And he won an MVP in 2007.
Very true. That is very true. It is also that was more towards middle of Dirk's career, correct? He got drafted what?
Yeah, he was drafted in the late 90s.
97.
Yeah. Yeah.
97.
I don't know the exact year, but I mean, in due
Dirk
time,
was drafted in 97.
Yes.
97. I mean, granted, good health. You know, Jokic he's going to put up better numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a different game.
That's the big thing. And with Jokic, the big thing that's always going to happen with Jokic is my man Jokic, he doesn't just drink the vodka. He likes to drink the rum. He likes to drink the sugary drinks, which really get into his belly a little bit. You know, he struggles with his weight, I think, as most centers are going to do. However, he has a special skill set that I would say that very few, if not none, in this league can really offer. He is a true unicorn. You know, everyone says Porzingis the unicorn. Well, Jokic is a true unicorn.
I put him in the top 10 passers in the NBA.
Absolutely.
I would feel very comfortable putting in top 5 passers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Just because I'm not a massive NBA guy, I don't go crazy into it. But as far as true passing goes, I know basketball and I've watched him play, and it's effortless to him to find the open man, and that's what you love to see.
Yeah, he has great vision, very skilled.
It's not easy for a big man to have that. Like me being 6'3", playing forward and center in high school, and very, very briefly 2 weeks of college. You don't get the ball handle that much. You don't get to run an offense through you, unless you're the best player on the team, which I wasn't. So I understand how it's not easy for a big man to have that court vision, because there's a lot of people big guys who literally they turn to the basket and they get the ball stripped immediately, and it just doesn't happen to him.
Yeah, he's just an unprototypical unicorn. He does not look the part, but I mean, he has the most coordination I've seen for a 7-foot man in my life. You know, this dude has vision like no other.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, let's get into let's
talk championship.
That's where I'm going. Winning? I want to hear your three futures for championship. Are we going Lakers? I'm not going Lakers. I want nothing to do with the Lakers. Greg, would you just fall down? What happened?
No, my phone's on 1% now too.
Oh my God, get it together!
I'm glad I looked, or I was just going to be out of here with the Irish goodbye.
Listen, we're all fine with the Irish goodbyes because Morgan didn't answer me for 3 days and he had no power.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Morgan, go first while he figures it out because.
All right, so if we're going to avoid the Lakers are the easy pick. You know, that's just saying, all right, I'm going to pick Gonzaga to score covered by 41 points on a random Monday night kind of pick. You know. So who we think that's not the Lakers, right? All right. So what's not the Lakers? There's a lot of picks out there, right? People are saying the Clippers. People are saying the Bucks. People are saying the Nets. No, I'm not about those teams. All right. What are the teams I am about? I like the Raptors at plus 1,800. That team I think Nick Nurse is arguably the best coach in the NBA. I think what he can do with the talent that he is given, I very much like that. This might be a homer pick. I like the Sixers at plus 2,000. I very much think that having a coach that is a championship coach that has a pedigree is going to hold Simmons and Embiid accountable. And the moves that they have made around Simmons and Embiid, bringing in Seth Curry, bringing in Danny Green, bringing in these shooters, bringing in a competent, true backup center to Embiid, as opposed to bringing in Horford and spending all of your money on him. That's a big move right there. Those are huge moves that really play to the strengths of those players. Who knows what's going to happen midseason? Maybe James Harden becomes a Sixer. You add James Harden into that mix, I like my chances even more. That's the pick and roll between James Harden and Joel Embiid. That's deadly. There's very few guys in the NBA who could stop that, even keep up with that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Deep pick. Deep pick. You want to go out on a limb. You want to really get in there on a team that I think could surprise some people this year. I think it's just a little maturity. Fuck the Knicks. Nobody cares about
that. That's a homer pick.
No, I'm not a Knicks fan.
I know.
You're doing good. Tits McGee over here is at a 0-0 game.
Who's your late sleeper?
Team that's my late sleeper. I think that's really going to grow. Who has been growing? Whom had a great offseason, adding Danilo Gallinari, Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Wow, this is where it's gone.
To complement their star, to complement their secondary score. You have this elite 3-point shooter in Trae Young. You have this strong post presence in John Collins. All right, you can play a pick and roll game with that. What feeds off pick and roll game? A 3-point shooter. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Boogie Bogdanovic, phenomenal spot of 3-point shooter. Danilo Gallinari, since he was traded for Carmelo, has been one of the most consistent stretch fours in the NBA. The Atlanta Hawks, plus 10,000. Deep sleeper. I don't think they're going to win it all. I think they're a year or two away still from really being there.
Okay,
but they
that's
have
one of those
pieces in place to get them to where they need to be and start getting that playoff experience. And you know what? You get hot playoff time. Look at the Heat this season. Nobody thought the Heat were going to make the finals. The Heat got hot. They had a leader in Jimmy Butler. Look what happens. You never know.
I don't hate that. I feel like I was looking over the roster the other day, like before we were doing the fantasy draft, and I feel like they're starting to build like a poor man's Warriors team from a couple years ago. That's what it looks like they're going for.
They have done a phenomenal job.
That volume shooting.
They've done a great job of surrounding their best players with complementary players. Mm-hmm. You put Trae Young and John Collins as your top guys. Okay, give me a DeAndre Hunter, who's a great lockdown defender, a la Andre Iguodala. Give me a Kevin Huerter, who is a great 3-point shooter who can also drive. Not going to say he's Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson's super light, right? One of my favorite players, my Duke boy himself, Cam Reddish, who I think is going to be in this league at some point in time. Sitting as your sixth man coming off the bench, absolutely love it. What they're building down there, I'm ecstatic. I think they have a great roster coming up. They added Clint Capella. You're adding Clint Capella to this lineup that has John Collins, who can shoot the three, who can stretch, to an already elite Trae Young, who can shoot from anywhere in the gym. I don't know. I think the one thing that could end up holding back the Hawks is coaching. They have a young coach who's going into his second season in Lloyd Pierce. However, Lloyd Pierce comes from the Greg Popovich tree. I always love when you have a guy coming off the Greg Popovich tree.
Absolutely. I just had to Google who the Hawks GM was because I'm going to be a stan of his because I think he's great. Travis Schlenk. I think that's how you say his name. Schlenk. Schlenk. Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking, I've always thought that as far as NBA coaching goes, I thought it was useless for many, many years. And then, the more I thought about it, this summer, because of Corona, I had way too much free time, and I was drinking way too much sometimes, and I had crazy thoughts in my mind. I figured out what NBA coaching is about. Besides, reaching potential and all this, it's holding people accountable because, they're not calling plays out there. You watch it, there's no play calling. There's none of that. They're playing basketball. It's the drive that they give the players. It's, like I said, the potential, but it's pushing the players to where they don't think that they can reach. And like if you can't, like obviously it sounds like potential, but like it's a little different. It's more of a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. Anybody can run you up and down the court and do suicides. Like that doesn't help. That doesn't help a professional basketball player. It's the mental game. They being aware, being this and that, and that. That's why I think coaching is coming into play. So I don't hate the whole the Raptors coach being one of the best coaches, because he's unlocking that potential. Real quick, because I'm not a big NBA guy, I'm just gonna go into a couple of teams that I thought of. I don't hate. Tell me if I'm a complete fucking nerd for this or a loser, because I was just talking about Jokic.
We'll let you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you will. I don't hate the Nuggets. I have it at plus 1900. I don't hate it. Obviously the Bucks they're my favorite out of the East. I think that Giannis is out for blood this year. And as far as the third, I don't hate the Hawks, but the way I see the Hawks, if they get into the playoffs and they start to make a run, you cash that ticket out before they even get there. That's like, I mean, I wouldn't do it. I'd ride, but like we try to give good advice. You cash that ticket out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cash
sell
it out
that,
and
make whatever profit you can.
Yeah, like I told, like Sean was on last week, before the playoffs in the bubble last year, he saw the Heat were on a run. He saw Jimmy Butler was playing out of his mind. He had the future for them to win the championship. I tried to tell him to cash it out. I tried to tell him to cash it out. He didn't listen to me. Nobody ever listens to me. And then here we are. He's got a losing bet. He would have cashed out free money. Greg, quickly go into well, not as quickly. You have plenty all the time in the world, but I want to talk about games. That's all. I just want to talk about some games.
Okay.
Give us your futures for the championship, or even a matchup if you have a specific matchup you want to see, or like you would bet on, because those are profitable.
So head to head.
If you don't,
I don't have those written down. But I mean, I could see the Suns making a good run. I think we were talking about that off camera before.
That's what I like to hear.
But the more and more I look at that roster and the layout of it, I see good things out of that team. Adding Chris Paul, that adds a whole nother dimension. Because you don't have to have Devin Booker take the ball up the court anymore. Now he can play off ball. He's a sniper.
I want to hear some real quick, just because you said the Suns, and I just talked about the Bucks. I just pulled it up. The Bucks versus Suns finals possible matchup is like one of the favorites.
Really?
On the book that we use, it's plus 5,000. That's wild.
That's a nice little bet right there.
Yeah, no, it's a great bet. I thought it was solid, but like that's the same odds as Celtics versus Nuggets.
Over R2.
Like I don't know. I don't hate that.
I don't hate it either.
What else you got? I'm sorry to cut you off. I just saw it piqued my interest.
No, it's no problem at all. I didn't really put down my champions, and I don't know the lines for them. Maybe you could fill me in.
Yeah.
Once I say it. But
to me.
I'm just trying to think who else that we haven't spoken about that I think has even the slight chance. I wouldn't put any money on the Celtics.
The Nets are plus 500. The Heat are plus 1150.
See,
the Raptors 2,300. The Blazers plus 3,000. Phoenix Suns plus 3,500.
See, I'd feel more comfortable than any to put it on the Suns.
See,
I
he's
really
on my
would.
bandwagon, buddy. You know what,
I really
Morgan?
would. Yeah, you could say I'm riding the wagon.
Fuck you, Morgan. I'm changing my card.
I'm sorry. I'm watching Kevin do his career player here in 2K, and he's doing his combine, and he just did his shuttle drill. It took him 51 seconds to do.
That's tough. That's tough. The only issue I had with that was the bench press, but let's get back.
Bench press is impossible. But I do like the Suns. Don't think that I'm against the Suns. I like the Suns a lot. I took Devin Booker in the second round, pick number 14 in the fantasy basketball draft this year. I'm very big on Devin Booker. I think adding Chris Paul is huge. Adding not that Ricky Rubio wasn't a competent point guard, but you're upgrading over Ricky Rubio. And I think you're playing for the strengths. I think DeAndre Ayton is going to have a pretty solid season. I like him. I don't love him, but I like him a lot. And you're adding to stretch guys. You have Mikal Bridges playing the 3 and D guy out of Villanova. He's pretty decent. Cam Johnson playing the 4 as a stretch 4. I hate him because he's from UNC, but I don't hate his game completely. So I do like them.
Yeah.
Greg, what else you got for us?
I would like to say that I would put money on the Nets, but at plus 500, that's
not worth it.
That's not worth it for me. But what I do have on the Nets is under 44.5 wins for the season.
Beautiful. I was going to ask after we did this if you had any of those.
Yeah, I have a couple of those, actually, if that's where we're moving to.
Yeah, if you want to move right into that, you're more than welcome. We're like I told you last week, and I told Sean and whoever else decides to ever join us on this podcast, we will ride with whatever the momentum swings with us. Like, if it was up to me and Morgan, we'd literally just record 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Love that.
I'm a hot mic all day, baby. I can talk all day long.
Me and Morgan were in this Skype call for an hour and a half before you showed up.
Really?
Yeah, Billy and I are texting all day about picks, about sports. You name it, we're talking about it.
Yep, we were talking about the NSA before, how they listened to our phone calls. I had to throw that one in. That was great. Great. Go ahead and see your over-under wins, total wins.
All right, cool. So I'm going to say these. We'll talk about them, and then I'm going to switch back over to the iPad. Just a heads up.
Whatever you got to do.
So Nets under 44.5 wins. Kyrie, KD, they're not going to play every night. You're not going to see them on the court together every single night. There's going to be rest days, clearly. So I also have the Knicks under 22.5 wins.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're playing a 70-game season here.
I was just gonna. I wanted to cut you off. I didn't want to I was trying to find a spot. It's a 72-game season. It's 10 games less than normal.
Yeah, exactly. And even 22 wins, I think they have a lot of players that are going to have a better second year. I think RJ has a good sophomore year. I think Mitchell Robinson has a great year. But I don't really think that translates to many more wins than they had last year. Mm-hmm. They made 0 splashes in free agency.
I'll get into that a little bit when we start talking about games. I got something for that.
Okay. Yeah. Obi Toppin, love the pick, but he's going to have to develop himself. I don't think he makes too much of an impact. So under 22.5, I'll ride with that. And where's that last one here? Okay. I also have Washington Wizards under 33.5.
They won't make the playoffs.
I think they're on the outskirts, maybe 9-10 seed. They'll fight for it. But, addition of Westbrook, you get rid of John Wall. It doesn't do much for me. It doesn't really move the needle.
I think
Westbrook's a stat hoarder. He's a better player, but Russ by himself with no adversary at his side, he didn't win that many games more. With Harden, what they maybe won high 40s one year. Did they win 50?
That team couldn't play any defense. They're so they just didn't even try on defense. When it comes down to it, when you start to win, try to get up to those 50 plus 60, rare 60 win game teams.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the teams that actually play defense and try.
Right, and if you look at it, I'm pretty sure Washington, even before getting Westbrook, was at the bottom of defensive metrics. Because I remember seeing at the end of the season, they might have been lighting up the scoreboard, putting up 130, but they were letting up 140. Mm-hmm. Bradley Beal will take 35 shots a game. That's not going to happen anymore, probably.
No. Because he takes 20 now because of Russ.
Exactly. Russ needs the ball in his hands, where John Wall wasn't that guy. He was more of a facilitator.
I don't hate that, and I want to throw in the fact that it just came out that Hachimura is out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
And I was hoping for a nice little step up from the boy. I really like him as a player. Thank God I didn't draft him last night. I really was going to.
Yeah, I mean, 3 weeks isn't much. It's like 7-8 games.
It's enough. That's if we're talking gambling. We're not talking, we're talking wins and losses over and under.
Mm-hmm.
Say they split those where they would go 6-4 in another one. Just like as far as numbers go. No, I don't know the schedule offhand. That's a swing. Either way, it's a swing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Real quick, just because Morgan said that he knows all 15 players. Who's the backup for Rui Hachimura?
Denny Ajavida.
Rui Hachimura.
Oh, is it? We get the Israeli off day one.
I don't know.
Denny Avicii was slated to start. Rui was going to be. They were going to be about either the sixth man or the starter. So Denny will become the starter for them. The backup to Denny Avicii is going to be Mo Wagner out of Michigan.
He stinks. I don't care what anybody says. He stinks. Didn't you meet him, Greg? Real quick?
I did meet him.
Yeah, you did meet him. I wanted to tell you that he stinks because he does stink.
Yeah, he's not very good. Yeah, I met him. I actually got a shout-out video with him to Jesse.
Yeah. I guess back when he was on the Lakers.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to swap this over. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're good. Morgan, do you have any over-unders? Or do you have any questions? I have the numbers pulled up if you don't have them.
But I got them.
Okay, I'm just
NBA is my thing, baby. You know that. I'm prepared. So what we're going to work with, I'm going to take under on my Sixers, 45.5. We're going to go the under on those guys. New coach, a lot of new pieces on the roster. I still think there could be a lot of roster turnover throughout the season. 72-game season, you're telling me at 45.5, which is really 45.5.
Okay, if you're interested, I have 44.5. If you're interested, the number's a little wacky though. The over is minus 140, and the under is plus 110.
I would definitely take the under in that one. It might not be a ton, but I do think the Sixers will head towards the under. Embiid will still be Embiid, where they're going to rest him a lot of games. They have a competent backup center, so you're going to take him out of the lineup. I think Simmons is going to have a great season. I think we're going to start to see Simmons really start to dominate and take over and become LeBron Jr. However, we'll get there. As for anybody else, Hawks, I've been on them already earlier tonight. Hawks, I like them over 36.5. That's a pick that I very much like.
Oh, just going to ask
Pistons. Yep. Pistons over 23.5. I very much like that as well. I don't think the Pistons are a good team at all per se, but you cannot convince me the Pistons will lose or only win 23 games in a 72-game season. The East is a beast where the top teams are going to beat up on each other. Pistons are going to luck into some of those games where they're playing against some of those East opponents that are just beaten up after a long night against the others. Let's take it out west. Let's head out to the West Coast and see what we got out here. Warriors, 36.5. I like the under in that. I think losing Clay is big. I don't know. I think Curry is starting to get a little injury prone. He's at his age 32 season. He's a year away from free agency. I think we're going to see him sit from time to time here and there. Your second overall pick, James Wiseman. It takes centers a little bit of time. They do not dominate the NBA right away. It takes a little bit for a center to start to really take over as that dominant force. We've seen it with all of them per se. Anthony Davis's rookie year only put up a little bit over 11 points per game, blew up in his second season over 20 points a game, hasn't been under 20 ever since. I love the Memphis Grizzlies over 30.5. Love. One of my absolute favorites.
That's where I was going to talk if you didn't talk. I loved it.
Grizzlies are one of my favorite young teams moving forward. They've done some phenomenal things. They are my Hawks of the West Coast, even though they're technically in the East Coast, but we'll worry about that later. We're not here to redistrict some teams.
Listen, that's mid. That's mid.
Yeah, it's not that mid. I mean, it is what it is.
I know it's like a few hours for you, but it's mid.
Detroit is a little bit more west than Memphis is, but it is what it is. I love John Moran. I think John Moran is a phenomenal player. He has a killer instinct. John Moran reminds me of a young Damian Lillard coming out of Weber State. Brandon Clark, who I just put on the trade block actually in our fantasy basketball league. Absolutely love him. I think he's a great four. He's a stretch four. He is a great complement to Jaren Jackson down there and Jonas Valanciunas. They got a great team. They're well coached. They're a young team. They're learning how to play. I would not be surprised if they sniff the playoffs this year.
Let's talk Brandon Clark after this.
Yeah, and my last one I'm going to roll out west. I'm going to go to Spurs under 29.5. There's a lot of questions moving forward about Popovich. How much longer is he going to be in the league? I'm getting a FaceTime call again.
Yes. By the way, answer that. Take your headphones out and answer it because Jared has something to say. He just texted me.
Fuck you. All right.
Yeah. He said he wanted to be a part of it real quick. I asked him if he wanted to hop in. He said no. I just want to say some shit real quick. So
you see, this is what you do to me. I'm on a great little rant here.
I know you are, but the namesake.
Hey, you're live. I'm live. You're live.
Get him real close. There he goes. Shout out to Jared, the namesake.
What's up, Jared?
And as a four, I mean for decades because Knicks are garbage. But I'm telling you, at least 18 Knicks again. All right, straight up, Knicks take, Knicks win. Fire Dolan, fuck Dolan. Let's go.
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate you. Love you. Congrats on the on finally building that PC. But sorry, Morgan.
Honestly, I did not hear what he said.
He said Knicks in 4.
8 seed.
He said Knicks in 4. That's what he said.
All right.
He's bringing back the classic Knicks tape team. Knicks stink. Knicks aren't going anywhere. Obi Toppin, I love him as a player, was a terrible pick for the Knicks to take.
I disagree. We'll get into that when we talk about the Knicks later.
Anything that they need. They did not need any more 3s or 4s. They need a point guard. They need guys who can be out top. Tyrese Halliburton would have been the guy that I would have rolled with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Spurs, my last guy that I would take the under on for sure. Popovich, I think this could be his last season in the NBA. You're seeing a lot of turnover in the team. None of his faces are there anymore. Aldridge only has a little bit left in the tank. Rudy Gay has a little bit left in the tank. This is a young team turning over to Lonnie Walker, to Keldon Johnson, Deontay Murray, Derek White. We'll see where they go, but take 29.5 under for them.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm riding with you on that. On the Hawks, I was really hoping you would talk about that. Same with the Grizzlies. I love that. I'd like if the odds were better, I'd toss a little bit at Milwaukee under 50.5, just because the shortened season. They might give a little what's it called? When these idiots sit out, and you get paid millions of dollars.
Load management.
Yeah, load management. Eat my
it.
dick. I haven't taken a day off of work in a fucking decade, but here we are. I like that. I'd touch that. I don't know about that Knicks. Greg, you spoke about the Knicks, right? About the Knicks under? Yeah, I don't know about that. I think they're going to stay in games. I think that Thibodeau, he's that coach that will light a fire under their ass. He's an old school guy. I will talk about it when we get into the games. I feel like they're going to cover a lot of games early in the year. They're going to be in games early in the year. They're going to be running that younger lineup, I hope. If they run the younger lineup, they will be in games. I don't like you spoke real quick because I'm on the Knicks. I watched Obi a lot because I'm the college guy. Obi runs the pick and roll better than anybody I've seen in college besides Garza in the last 10, 15 years. There's nobody better. He sets that screen, he's gone. The ball's already in the hoop. I think that works very well with RJ, unless you didn't watch Duke like you say you do. But he attacks the basket. That's what he wants to do. I felt like that was a better substitution because Halliburton's great. I made a lot of money off of Halliburton when he was at Iowa State. I love him as a player, but I don't think he fits what the Knicks are trying to build over there. As far as like with RJ, I don't think he fits very well because he's gonna pull up a lot of threes, and they want to run eventually out of RJ. So I don't think the Halliburton should have been the pick that they would have went with. But I just want to toss that in. You guys have any real quick right before we get into games? I want to talk about Rookie of the Year. Anybody besides LaMelo?
I don't think he sniffs it.
Me either. I just want to.
100% agree.
Odds-on
100%.
favorite. I'm glad you both agree with me.
He's odds-on favorite right now?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have the odds, but I assume he is.
Hold on, I'm pulling this
up.
up.
He's the name,
Right.
and that's what it really comes down to.
So for me, what we had LaMelo at a plus 390 odds-on favorite. Hate it. I do not like LaMelo.
Give me the top 10.
I don't
Give me
think
the top 10 real quick.
Great.
If you have
so our top 10, we got LaMelo plus 390, Obi Toppin plus 440, Wiseman plus 700, with an Anthony Edwards plus 700, Killian Hayes plus 950, Mr. Bol plus 1,800, Halliburton plus $2,000, Denny Avicii at plus 2,700, Akuro Isaac plus $3,000, Patrick Williams plus $3,000, Cole Anthony plus 3,600. You want my guy out of that group? I'm rolling plus 2,700. Denny Avicii. That is my pick to win Rookie of the Year. He is the most polished player coming out of the draft this season after playing professionally in Israel for the past 3 seasons. He is going to have a prominent role as a point forward for the Wizards this season. Absolutely love him to win the MVP. Or, I'm sorry, not the MVP, the Rookie of the Year.
I don't hate that at all, especially if Hachimura, I can never say his name. I've been talking about him forever, and I still can't say his name right. If he misses more time than expected, like, they could run with him. They could just let him have that job and have Rory be the 6th man, or even just throw him down closer to the 4. I don't know how that lineup is set up, to be 100% honest with you. But the NBA, they change the lineups night in, night out. Bye, Morgan. I don't know where you went.
Need a drink.
I don't hate that. I wish Halliburton was a better value, because I really like that. Nothing sticks out is the problem. And LaMelo, as much as I hate him and I hate that family and I don't think he's very good, he's going to have the opportunity, because there's nobody on that team. Like, Terry Rozier would be the true guard on that team, I guess. But why would you not have 2 great passers? And I think Terry is a great, phenomenal scorer. I love Terry.
Baller. He's a baller.
They should have cut everybody else on the Celtics and kept Terry. The Celtics will never forget that. I can promise you that. The kid can ball. So I think they'll run Terry out too, and then LaMelo will just have too much playing time off the bat. That'll be hard for a lot of these kids to catch up.
I think a big thing that we have to acknowledge with this draft class is this is a very weak class coming into the NBA.
Yes.
Last year's class with Zion and John Morant was a great class. Next year's class, there are about 5 guys who could go number 1, with Cade Cunningham being the odds-on favorite right now. This class does not have that guy. This is very reminiscent of a class that came out in 2000. I want to say it's either 2015, 2014, where a point guard out of Syracuse won Rookie of the Year for the 76ers. A guy who was the benefactor of a situation where he was asked to put up the stats with nothing else around him. I think this is going to be a very reminiscent season. That is why I'm very big on Denny Avicii this season. Another one I'm very big on this season is going to be Killian Hayes, another guy who's already kind of been handed the keys to the Detroit Pistons. They already said Derrick Rose is their 6th guy. They're bringing him off the pine. Killian Hayes, you are running this offense. You're going to have your growing pains. Rookie point guards always have growing pains. You're going to see a good bit of turnovers. However, he has played professionally in France for the past 2 seasons. Those international guys this season are going to have a significant advantage on the college guys and the LaMelos who are coming into this league.
Greg, did you relocate? I haven't been looking at the actual screen. You relocated down?
I did relocate. I went to my basement.
This is going to be a long-ass episode, Morgan, by the way. Just want to let you know.
That's what we do here at Betting and Diagonal. We bring fire for at least an hour and a half.
This is a special. This isn't like a real episode. We're just talking NBA. That's what we're doing. I don't hate Anthony Edwards for the same reason why you just talked about Danny. I think that he's just going to be the guy they go to. Like, in college, he was unstoppable. I saw him the first game, and I was like, I'm going to bet on this team every week. He was a man amongst boys in college, and now he's a man amongst men. And I thought the first time I saw him play, like he never should have went to college. He should have been straight to the NBA.
Who was this? I'm sorry.
Anthony Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
So at plus,
you're not going to like my analysis of this. So Anthony Edwards is plus 700.
Shit about analytics.
You're not analytics. You're not going to love my analysis. Plus 700. Yep.
That's value enough for me to take him.
Not going to love my analysis of Anthony Edwards. I think he's a good player. He's got some talent. The guy who he reminded me the most coming out of college into the NBA is Dion Waiters.
Ew.
Really? That's the comparison?
With his body type, with how his competitiveness has been questioned, how his desire to play in the NBA and play basketball has been questioned, how he has openly stated that the NFL and football is his favorite sport over basketball. That concerns me significantly. You see the killers in the NBA, the guys who come in number 1 overall. Basketball is their focus. That is all that they dream about. That is all that they care about. When I look at Anthony Edwards, he's got a great game. He's got a ton of talent. Dion Waiters had a ton of talent, a ton of game coming out of Syracuse. I am very much concerned that Anthony Edwards' career is going to head along that path.
I mean, isn't Dion Waiters a finals champion, if I'm mistaken? Doesn't he have multiple?
I mean, Jawan Howard.
I'm asking the honest question. He's won multiple championships, correct?
I think he has one. He has one with the Lakers this season.
He wasn't on that Heat team with LeBron?
No,
sure?
He was on the Cavaliers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think
he has one this season with the Lakers. He did not sniff the court. His career in the NBA is pretty much over at this point. He doesn't touch the court at all.
I think Anthony Edwards, even just in college, is a better player than Dion Waiters was.
I don't disagree with that. I think that Anthony was a significantly more talented player. He was a better player in college. However, that heart, that desire, that goes a very long way, I think, to being
But that's
successful.
also the Minnesota way.
In Minnesota way, I mean, that could very easily shift him. You know, look what happened.
They're going to play that pick and roll in and out game with Cat. Like, how do you hate that? How do you hate that? That's easy.
You also have touches. You also have touches going to Cat's best friend, D'Angelo Russell, who's a very good point guard. You know, he's a very good scoring guard in this league.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater.
Guys over there who Anthony Edwards at best is going to be the third option, which is a good role for him off the jump. He should not be a starting guy, you know, but I very much worry about that desire to keep himself in shape for the grind of the NBA, which Dion Waiters ran into those issues.
I just think it goes back to Billy's point of, coaching. If they can click, connect, build a rapport, and I can't even tell you who their coach is right now, but if he wants to play for him, then he will.
PJ Fleck, great coach.
PJ Fleck, Minnesota.
I was hoping you knew who it was.
Yeah.
No. The coach of Minnesota is Ryan Saunders.
Yeah, but he's the former coach of
Minnesota Gophers.
Okay.
Oh no, right. Yeah.
I think we're talking Timberwolves. Okay.
Yeah, I fucked it all up.
Yeah.
I'm still on NBA.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I'm trying to Ryan Saunders. Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, I don't know much about him.
I'm trying to Google as quick as possible, get all the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not that young Jamie from Joe Rogan. I can't just instantly have it. I'm sorry. Let's get into the games because we're an hour into the podcast. You haven't talked any actual basketball.
Hold on. Can I just get my one rookie in? I had it on my mind. I just remembered.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry.
No,
go ahead.
No worries. It's a quick one. It's kind of a long shot. He's not starting to begin the season, but I definitely think he could shoot his way into the starting five, and that's Cole Anthony.
Fair.
Plus 2,800. He has Evan Fournier starting in front of him at the 2. So, I mean, Evan Fournier he's a six man. He's a six man, bro.
Yeah. Like,
and
me and Morgan are both Duke fans, and like we can still respect Cole Anthony's game.
Yeah, I mean, he killed it at North Carolina. I mean, his draft stock, he was talked about as the number one pick, when that college season started. And, his draft stock definitely slid. And he slid into a team where he's starting in the backup role. But I just think when he gets the opportunity, he's going to shoot the lights out of the gym, get that starting role, and put himself in a good situation.
I don't hate that. What you said,
plus 2,800.
2,800? I don't hate that because I'm assuming he's 6 or 7 in the rotation. Just Morgan, can you back me up on that, or is that right?
Yeah, off the rip, he will likely be either 7th or 8th guy off the bench. Terrence Ross is going to be the 6th man for those guys, so he'll likely be your backup.
Terrence Ross. 2 and 3.
Terrence Ross is going to be a 2 or 3. Cole Anthony is more of a combo guard between a 1 and a 2. So he's going to be maybe your 7th guy. The thing that concerns me, I think, most with Cole Anthony, which isn't even his own doing, is the fact that the Magic just signed Markelle Fultz to a 3-year, $50 million contract today. So they're going to definitely invest in him with the bulk of their point guard duties, which is what Cole Anthony is. He is a point guard. He's a scoring point guard, but he is a point guard. So I think for the beginning, you're going to see Cole Anthony really stick to the bench. I agree with you. I think that there's a shot that he's going to see his way to significant minutes. I do think he could supplant not only Evan Fournier, but Markelle Fultz if Fultz really, forgets how to shoot a little bit again. If he's here doing this kind of thing, he definitely could work into that. So I don't hate that pick at all. I mean, I don't really like Cole Anthony because of the UNC guy. That's a morally corrupt institution. I don't like them. I don't like anybody who comes out of them. But it's I don't hate that.
I just really quick, because you brought up the signing of Markelle Fultz, I was just curious about that Evan Fournier contract situation. This is his final year.
Fournier.
So
Evan
they might
Fournier's
go 1 and 2 with those
right now for about I believe it's like 16-something million this season. So he's on his free agent year, which is also big because guys in the NBA, when they hit their contract year, especially a guy like Fournier, kind of sees the writing on the wall, and his time in Orlando is probably coming towards the end. He's going to ball out. He's going to put points up on the board. He wants to get that big money next season. Some team's going to pay him. Shooting is at a premium in the NBA. He can shoot. He might not be the best shooter in the world, but he can shoot the ball. He is a solid, competent 2-guard, a 6th man, like you were saying. He'd be a great 6th man for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I do agree. And, I mean, if you think about it in that aspect, he may be the 6th man for a playoff contending team at some point during the season instead of the Magic, which opens the door.
100%. Completely agree. He is prime candidate to be traded. If the Magic are a bad team this season, a prime candidate to be traded mid-season once his contract, the guaranteed money, is off the books. Billy took my guy who was a big 6th man for me, who I absolutely love, who's now kind of in the starting role, but Spencer Dinwiddie. He could be very much similar to that for a playoff team like the Lakers, a team like the Clippers, one of those guys. He could even become a buyout candidate potentially if trade just can't be found. Milwaukee, he'd be a great fit for Milwaukee. The Sixers, he'd be a great fit with the Sixers. Put a little shooting from the bench for them. He's a nice player.
Love it. We need to get in some games. We're over an hour into this, and we haven't even talked about any basketball games. Let's tip off. Boys. Woo! We got the Lakers versus the Clippers. Lakers get 2.5. And was the over-under still 215, or did that change? I haven't checked.
I still had it at 215 last I looked. I am stoked for this game. I love betting the NBA. NBA, to me, how Billy is college basketball, I'm the NBA. I think the NBA is the easiest thing to gamble on by far. I put this peak in. Well, Billy and I spoke about this probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I put this bet in. I emptied my account on the Lakers minus 2.5 going into this game. The fact that the Lakers are getting 2.5, yes, there might not be no fans, that they're giving 2.5 to the Clippers in their building against a team that they fight for that building with, who thinks that they can come in and steal that building from the Lakers while we're raising a banner to the ceiling. No shot. The Lakers are going to fucking roll in this game. They're out here to prove a statement. that they are the best team in the NBA. They are an even improved roster over last year, adding Dennis Schroeder, adding Montrezl Harrell, adding Marc Gasol. Significantly better team than they were last season already. I love them at -2.5. If you can still get them at -2.5, put the house on now.
They're still there at 2.5.
Yeah,
it hasn't moved at all.
Now we might be a little behind, but if you follow the fantasy football Degenerates 6-pack, we put on the house a couple weeks ago the Seahawks versus Eagles. We're right there with Lakers versus Clippers. Let's put -2.5. Let's roll with it, baby.
That's a much different bet because if you took that line later in the week, you would have lost. But that's neither here nor there.
But I didn't.
Listen, bro, that's like me betting Furman at 145, and I wake up today and it's fucking 153. Like, you don't always early numbers. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's early numbers. I'm on the same side as Morgan. Listen, I was trying to find a stat for banner raising, and I can't find it anywhere. I don't pay for any of these websites to get all this executive information that it's somebody's job to just solely look at that stat. But listen, they're gonna blow them out. I think it's that simple. That's all. I just think it's that simple. They're the better team, and 2.5, they're gonna win by 10. I think they're gonna win by 10. They just won by 30 in the preseason.
Yeah,
with nobody.
I'm with
Horton.
you, Bill.
Yeah,
give me the field goal. I'll lay the field goal.
Yeah, at 2.5, it's free. I think it's free. It's at worst, it's an 8-point game. Personally, the next Tuesday night game.
The thing about the NBA that is huge, that really comes into figure, is you have to realize who is the best player on the court at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That is one of the biggest factors in betting the NBA. LeBron puts his foot on that court. He is the best player 100 out of 100 times. Mm-hmm. Yes, Kawhi is a great player. Kawhi is a LeBron neutralizer. Okay, say you want to balance them two out. Let's go to the next two. Anthony Davis versus Paul George. Anthony Davis is significantly better than Paul George is. Who is going to match up against Paul or Anthony Davis? The one guy on the Clippers who maybe could get in his head a little bit is now the starting center for the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I absolutely love it. The Lakers are back. We're back in Showtime, baby. The Lakers are here to stay. They're not going anywhere.
Sixers fan? Morgan?
What?
Are you a Lakers fan as well as a Sixers fan? Because you say a whole lot during this.
I'm a Sixers fan, but I love teams that are just dominant. I love that team that is just a great team. And I like LeBron. I'm a big LeBron guy. I think LeBron is very good. However, I am a Sixers fan. I roll with my Philly 4 for 4 all day.
Yeah. Listen, how do you feel about the over-under, real quick? Over-under.
Hammer the over. Hammer the over.
I'm the same way. I just want to look up LeBron's lifetime free throw percentage. I know it's trash, and that's why
5.
It's around 65,
68.
69.3. He improved. Oh no, 73 over his career. That's terrible as the quote unquote GOAT. You'll never GOAT in my eyes if you shoot that. But he is obviously the best player we've seen since Kobe. The next game on the slate for the tip off is the Nets versus the Warriors. The Nets are 7.5-point favorites against the Warriors. We just lost Klay Thompson. Kind of trying to figure out what they're gonna do. I know, I had to take that Kelly Oubre in our fantasy draft just because he's just gonna eat. Yeah. Morgan was telling me about all the prop bets before we started recording, and he goes, 3 out of the 6 players that are on your team are the 3 favorites to be the highest scorer in this game. Oh my God, it's a beautiful sight. It's a beautiful sight.
And I will say, as we just said that, I have officially just flipped on my pick for this game. I am now going to roll with the Warriors plus 7.5. I think the Nets will win this game. However, I do think the Warriors will be able to cover with 7.5 points. I don't see the Warriors getting embarrassed. Curry is back. James Wiseman is out there. You added some nice players in Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins. I think if anybody is going to bring the first overall talent out of Andrew Wiggins. It is Steve Kerr, who is a phenomenal coach. Yes, losing Klay Thompson is obviously a huge miss. Nobody is mistaking this Warriors team for the team of 2-3 years ago. However, they still have some very nice players. Draymond Green is the heart and soul of that team. He is healthy. He is ready to roll. I like them getting the 7.5 for sure.
Yeah,
Great.
I like it as
Any
well.
opinion?
What's that?
I was gonna say, any opinion on that?
Yeah, I like the 7.5. I would definitely take Warriors 7.5. I expect Curry to, shoot the lights out of the building. They're still so small though. That's my problem with them. Is Weissman even playing tomorrow?
I thought he was questionable.
He's a game time decision currently. He is not slated to start, even if he is able to play. Kerr stated that Marquise Chris will be the opening night center. Wiseman will see if he's good to go. Wiseman will see the court for a good amount of time. He also stated that Wiseman will be the starter before long, so it's not going to be Chris's job for a long time. Marquise Chris did some nice things though with the Warriors, and he matches very well with Steph Curry in the pick and roll game. So,
as of 2 hours ago on CBS Sports, James Wiseman is not on the injury report.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll see some Wiseman.
Either way, outside of the 5, they are still so small. With Draymond probably being their tallest player, like 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, Draymond's a 6'7" guy.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing the 4, which, he's used to playing anyway. But, Weissman, I expect him to get bully balled, honestly. He's not that type of stretch 5. If he goes up against Rudy Gobert or Clint Capella, he's going to get bodied.
Yeah.
And I think the beginning of Wiseman's career, he's absolutely, because, I think Wiseman has a great game. He's got a great potential. It is a very underrated aspect that he just took the past year off college basketball. He did not get to get in the gym, in a college gym, going against college players or anything.
They robbed him. That's what I want to say.
He absolutely was. He was absolutely robbed, but it also is going to definitely stunt his growth a little bit. Like I kind of said already, I think if there's any coach out there who's going to be able to find the best and get him in the best shape and get him ready to roll, it's probably up there with Steve Kerr. He's a great coach. That's one of the reasons I don't think he will be a starter till about mid-January or so.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to say I'm a little concerned. I'm still, even though you flipped, I'm still on the Nets. I think it might be a Kevin Durant revenge game. It might be a Kevin Durant coming out party after the Achilles injury. I think that the Warriors might have a little chemistry issues early on. I mean, Steph can always keep them in the game, so I get that. But I got to ride with Kevin. I got to ride with Kevin in the revenge game.
Okay. I was thinking the same thing about the Nets, that they may have some chemistry issues.
I agree. I think the Nets are going to have some chemistry issues. I think you're also kind of discounting the fact that coming off, you have two of your 2 best players coming off major injuries. They're not going to see 36 minutes on the court.
Exactly.
This is a shortened season. Yes, it might be only be 10 games shortened, but it is a shortened season. You're not going to see guys out there 40 minutes a night. You might see Kyrie and Kevin out there 28, 32 minutes a night a game right now. I think that's a very big factor for sure.
I do think that as far as chemistry goes, I don't think they'll have any issues because I do think that Kyrie is the best true point guard in the league. Without a doubt, he is the best passer, the best ball handler. You can't tell me false.
I don't know about that. You want to take me to a true point guard?
A true point guard. Steph is not a true point guard. Name a true point guard in the league.
Why is Steph not a true point guard?
So what are we defining as
a true shooting guard? First off, he's a true shooting guard. What are we defining
as a true point guard? Because if you want to tell me true point, like a point guard, who I think is a point guard,
is a point guard.
Chris Paul.
Ben Simmons is a point guard.
Damian Lillard
towards the end of the career.
Damian Lillard would be by
his
far.
His passing is not on the same par as Irving.
But I think that's where we differ is what is our definition of true point guard? Because even Kyrie only puts up about 5 assists per night. It's not like we see him out there putting up 7-8 assists per night. If we want to go true point guard, you can honestly say Russell Westbrook is a true point guard.
he's been playing with nobody since LeBron left. Since LeBron left, he's been playing me and you.
Look what he had. He had some nice players up there in Boston with him, and he didn't. He kind of crumbled being the guy. I think Kyrie's a guy I think who is always in his head right now. If you want to go true point guard, throw Damian Lillard out there. The guy's going to put up 30 points a night. He will put up 6 assists per night with his backcourt mate McCollum and his 2B option and Josef Nurkic down low. I think Lillard is your clear-cut number one true point guard in the league.
What I'm saying, a true point guard would never pull up from 33 feet. Never. Never, never, never. Never, never, never. That's a bad play. It puts your team in a bad position.
It's low percentage.
Middle school, high school, fucking on the playground, it doesn't matter. You don't pull up from almost half court. It's a low percentage play. And Kyrie won't do things like that.
Yeah, but
a point guard is the smartest guy on the court. Yeah, he's an idiot off the court, thinks the world is flat, but that's just like he's Sage in the court, which, by the way, I love. Big Sage guy, but no, thank you.
But I think the best comparison in that conversation has got to be Chris Paul.
Yes. Chris Paul would be. Chris Paul's the definition of a true point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You hit the nail on the head with that. As far as like his career is going, though, he's towards the end.
Yeah, but absolutely. But am I wrong to say that still to this day, any team he goes to, he's making you better?
Very true. I won't hate on that.
Rajon Rondo, you can't say the same.
Oh, I can say the same. He takes
fouls. Making your team better?
He makes it somewhat better. He plays better defense, but he's an offensive liability. But that's besides the point. This is a long season, and we're an hour and a half into this. Can we put all us more games?
Yeah, sure.
Because I want to, because Morgan's got a 50-game card he wants to talk about.
You guys start on the next.
What do you have for Wednesday?
You want to hit the Wednesday card? Let's talk Wednesday.
Well, it's only 2 games on Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, there is, but there is a lot of games on Wednesday, and I am
speak a little bit quicker.
I am excited. So let's just start. We won't go crazy. We're going to start with the home team, the Sixers, -7.5 against the Wizards. Love it. Sixers always play great against the Wizards. Joel Embiid bodies Russell Westbrook left and right. He is in his head constantly. We'll go to the next game. We won't sit on the one game. I like the Hornets +1 against the Cavaliers. Hornets are an improved team. As much as I don't like LaMelo Ball, having a competent point guard is a big factor. It goes a long way. Whereas in Cleveland, you have 2 guys who are battling for the point guard position in Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. I lean Sexton, but we'll see what happens there. Next one, Knicks. As our special guest earlier tonight, Jared decided to say Knicks +8.5 against the Pacers. Absolutely love that pick. I like the Pacers. I don't love the Pacers. I don't think Oladipo is ever going to see the all-star form that he once saw before the injury. I'm concerned, is TJ Warren just a shot in the pan in the bubble where he's putting up 26 points per night? Can he do that consistently? I don't know. Who's going to put up points for the Pacers? I'm not certain.
It's the same. You have the same question with the Knicks, though.
Well, the thing with the Knicks is, I think we're going to see a very good season out of R.J. Barrett. I think that you're going to see this guy take the next leap. He has that Duke education. He learned how to play the game properly under the greatest coach of all time. You have Mitchell Robinson, who's a very underrated center down there. Some nice players. Julius Randle is good to put you up 18 points per night. It's the little things that'll go in there. Obi Toppin, again, I don't love it, but he's still a nice scorer. He's very Blake Griffin-esque, in my opinion, coming into the Knicks.
Good comparison.
Moving on. Fair comparison, just can't jump out of the gym like he can, but very fair. He can't jump out
of the gym. He doesn't play any defense whatsoever. Blake Griffin's not a defensive guy, but Obi Toppin, their measurables are extremely similar. He can do some nice things. He's going to put up when he's in his prime and he's playing well, he's going to put about 18, 20 points per night. You'll take that on any given team as long as you have a defensive center. If Mitchell Robinson can be that guy, you got a nice front court right there. Heat, -3 against the Magic. This line should be bigger. There's no excuse for this to be a -3.5 line. Heat coming off a run to the championship. Yeah, they might not have deserved it, but they are a significantly better team than the Magic are. Jimmy Butler is going to whip those boys into shape. The Heat did not make a lot of moves in the offseason. However, they're going to roll with consistency. You got two great three-point shooters in Duncan Robinson, and as the namesake of my fantasy team, Tyler Herro's DMs, Tyler Herro, I think he's going to have a nice season right there. I think Jimmy Butler is going to be your point guard coming into the season. I think that's a role that is very strong for Jimmy Butler, being the facilitator, getting to kind of run the offense. He did that with the Sixers 2 years ago, running the playoffs, and had a lot of success. As we continue with the Wednesday card.
By the way, real quick before I cut you off, Morgan, Greg, if you have anything to say, you need to cut him off. Just cut him off.
Stop me.
No worries. I'm listening to the card. I do love
card.
that.
This is got to scroll down deeper to see his card. This is just like the Wednesday plays. These are just the Wednesday games.
The Wednesday plays will all be part of the card. So, next pick I had on there, another one that is a shocking line to me. I get it in some ways, but in other ways, this should be at least a 6-point spread in my book. Bucks minus 2.5 against the Celtics.
Yes, sir.
There's no reason that the reigning MVP and the team that's probably arguably the best team in the Eastern Conference should only be 2.5-point favorites to the Celtics. No chance at all. Giannis is great. The Bucks made some great moves in the offseason. Drew Holiday is one of the most underappreciated complementary star players in the league. He's a great defender. He's a great spot-up shooter. He's going to do wonders running the point for that team. He's going to help get Chris Middleton and Giannis open at all times. I'm not as big on the Celtics this year. Everyone keeps talking up Jason Tatum after having a great bubble, and he's going to do this, this, and this. I like Jason Tatum. I don't love Jason Tatum, and I think losing Kemba for the first couple of weeks of the season, that's going to be a very underrated injury that people just aren't really expecting right off the jump. Next on the block, as much as I do love the Grizzlies, there is something about the allure of Greg Popovich coach teams. So I'm going to take the Spurs +3 against the Grizz right off the get-go. I like where the Grizz are going to go, but I think that Pop is going to get those teams ready to roll. He's going to make sure that his boys are coached up and going to put out the best effort there. I don't think maybe they might not win. The Grizzlies might win. However, I do think the Spurs will cover that game. There's a lot of athleticism on this young Spurs team, which the Grizzlies still are kind of coming out of that grit and grind era. They do still have some slower guys. Okay, moving forward. Hawks -2 against the Bulls. Another line that I think should be much bigger than -2. Again, I pumped the Hawks earlier tonight. I think the Hawks are a very good team potentially, whereas the Bulls are not a very good team. They stink. I don't know what the Bulls are going to do. I think Zach LaVine will be traded before midseason comes up. I don't know what's going on with them. They drafted Patrick Williams at 4 overall. I'm a big Patrick Williams guy, but not at 4 overall. His comparison for me is a guy like an Andre Iguodala. I don't think that he's going to be a superstar kind of guy. And at pick number 4, when there's better players on the board, it just doesn't make sense to me. Next one, Timberwolves -5 against the Pistons. I think the Pistons are going to stink. I think the Pistons might be in the running for the first overall pick. Yes, I do have the Pistons as over 23.5 wins this season. I have the Timberwolves under 29.5 wins this season for what it's worth. However, I think that the Timberwolves, going based off of who is the better talent, who is the better overall team, I think the Timberwolves have a better team around them. They also have a coach who has been around those star players a little bit longer, which is a big factor. Next game Wednesday night, we're going to do Nuggets -8.5 against the Kings. Nuggets, in my book, are the second best team in the Western Conference. The West has always been conceivably the better conference of the two. However, the East is now a juggernaut. The top 6 seeds in the East, you could kind of flip-flop any day. Maybe Milwaukee you take out of that, but they all are going to be battling with each other. The West is a little bit more wide open. Denver is a great team. We already went over it earlier. I think Jokic is a sleeper for MVP. Jamal Murray is another guy you might want to take a look at. Last I saw, he was plus 5,700 odds to win MVP. He's a nice player. I don't expect him to win MVP in the slightest bit, but he's a great compliment to Jokic because of that pick-and-roll game. He can be a spot-up shooter. He can do some nice things. Michael Porter, most improved player of the year. I am very much high on him to win that this season. He is a guy who fell in the draft due to injuries, fell to the 13th pick in the draft to the Nuggets. He would have been the first overall pick had he not had a back injury coming out of Missouri. You cannot underestimate that in the slightest bit. The game that he has as a 6'10", small forward, power forward player, he is what you want Ben Simmons to be, where he can shoot the ball and he can just take over a game.
He is what you want Obi Toppin to be. That's who the Knicks should have taken.
Yes. Yep. 2 more games on the Wednesday slate. Blazers -5.5 against the Jazz. So
he's laughing because
I
he
am
wrote jizz. He's laughing because he wrote jizz.
very much so. Damian Lillard is my favorite player in the NBA who is not on the Sixers. Absolutely love Damian Lillard. He's the best leader in the NBA. He's the most clutch player in the NBA right now. Blazers are a top 4 team in the Western Conference in my book. They had a phenomenal offseason, retaining their players, bringing in guys like Robert Covington to complement that roster. Jusuf Nurkic is a very underrated center. CJ McCollum is a very underrated 2-guard and a complementary player to Damian Lillard. And the last game I have, which I'm having as one of my big plays, my locks, I'm putting a lot of units on this game. Billy's on the opposite side of this one, if I'm not mistaken. With
no,
me.
You convinced me to go back to the other side.
All right, I got him into it. So we're gonna go Mavericks +1 against the Suns. I don't know why the Mavericks are underdogs in this game. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think I do understand why, because probably Porzingis is going to be out most likely, which is going to mean more minutes for Dwight Powell and for Maxi Kleber, who's one of Billy's favorite guys over here. However, Luka is the guy I think is going to win MVP this season. He is such a dominating force, and he is a stat stuffer. He is a walking triple-double every single night. The Suns are a young team. They are learning how to play. When you add a floor general in there to the first time playing, especially in this kind of circumstance in COVID, where they haven't had all these times, they had 2 playoff or preseason games to play together, and they haven't gotten to play together all that much. I love the Mavericks getting that extra point. I think the Mavericks win outright.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now I'll breathe for a second while you guys talk.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Doncic and how I've been a Doncic guy for years. Like me and Morgan talked about it off camera a couple weeks ago about Luka and how like I used to watch some because I'm a basketball fanatic. I just like the NBA is boring to me. It's just a lot of 3 points, this and that, like no defense. I'm a basketball purist, and the European way to play basketball, Luka.
It's the closest thing to college.
Yes, it's the closest thing to college, but Luka is the definition of that. He's been winning MVPs, winning championships, dropping triple doubles on grown ass men since he was 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There was no doubt in my mind that he would be a Hall of Famer in the NBA. The first time I saw him play, like he was just the best man on the court while still in high school. He's just that good, and that's kind of why like I was on the Suns just because the overall team is better, but I do have the chemistry doubts for the first couple weeks. Greg, you can talk about whatever game you want, whenever you want, because Morgan, like I told you, he doesn't shut the fuck up. He just ran through 12 games.
Yeah, that was good though. I didn't get to look through all the games, so it was nice to actually hear, the lines on them, because mine won't show it for some reason. But yeah, in that Suns Mavericks game, I'm kind of on the other side of you guys. I mean, I could see it going either way. Clearly, that's why it's at a 1. Might as well just make it a picket at that point.
Yep.
But I just think that the matchups work more in favor of the Suns in that game. But that could Luka could drop 50, and we could have a whole other story, and nobody would be surprised. But my best play that I have here is Hawks -2. And I know you already went over that game. I think that's way too low. I'm on the same wagon that you're on, that they are a very good team that will continue to get better and gel with all that depth that they have. Honestly, they're in my opinion, their second unit would beat the Pistons,
Fair.
They really would.
Very fair.
I don't disagree in the slightest bit.
You're gonna have Gallinari coming off the bench. You're gonna have Herder. You're gonna have Cam Reddish. All those guys on their best day could be the best player on the Pistons.
Sorry, there's just a stat on SportsCenter that I'm reading that's absolutely absurd about the NFL. It's the first week since 1973 that multiple 14-point underdogs have won outright.
Really?
Wild stat.
Wait, who was the other one besides Jets?
The Bengals tonight.
What was the spread on that?
-15.5 by close. Sorry, the NBA fans for a little off topic, but it caught my eye.
Diverting a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else do I have here? I have the 76ers minus 7.5 over the Wizards. 8 points. It may sound like a lot, but, the Wizards they're not a very good team. I feel even more comfortable now that Hachimura is out. Not that he's a stud at this point by any means, but, I think the ball's just going to have to be in Westbrook's hands even more. And I think that's, unless he shoots the light out of the gym, which I don't expect.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could just be a long opening night for the Wizards.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Well, poor defensive efficiency anyway.
Yep. I've never really gone too deep into the NBA gambling just because I'm not somebody who watches beginning to end. Like, I'll live bet it a lot. Like, I've talked about it a couple times already.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially in the NBA, there's 15, 20-point swings where,
Absolutely.
And the line has to move. Like, they have to protect themselves. Like, Vegas has to protect themselves. They have to protect the over. They have to protect the under. They have to protect the live. So, there's so much value. Like, Morgan's called me a little bitch before for taking live bets at a better number because he said I didn't have any balls. Was the correct?
Let's digress.
Morgan.
I will call him a little bitch for literally anything. So
that's
very
fair.
True. That's.
But just think about it. Like, if you were taking, say it's the Bucks against the Pistons, high versus low,
yeah,
and the line's minus 10, whatever, it's minus 500 to start, and the Pistons start out on an 8-0 run. You're getting the Bucks at an even line.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Free money.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's a big thing with the NBA is the NBA is a game of runs, and live betting the NBA is a great strategy. I will never deny that in the slightest bit. I love to jump on them early because I'm a degenerate. I will look at those lines a night and a half before they come out, and I am ready to roll. And then I will live bet them also as they come out. But live betting the NBA is a great strategy because the best teams typically find a way to win. And like I said, it is a game of runs. You're going to have a team that goes on an 8-2 run. You're going to have the other team is going to go on a 9-1 run. That's how the NBA plays. It's not like college.
I just want to make sure we stress it. As the season go on, I'll always remind people, always look out for those live lines. I really wish I could just post my live college lines. I've done really well, actually, but nobody gets to see that. So that's neither here nor there. But
damn shame.
Yeah. But listen, I even today, I posted when I posted my picks, I took them last night. I woke up, posted them, and then went to work. And then I looked at the lines when I got to work, and the Furman line was 8-point different. So I went out and I said I could delete it and reposted it. Said this is what I have, but the line is stale. But that's what you get for I stayed up, waited for that line. The Furman line isn't the first game on the board, obviously. But I'm waiting for that because I know in my head I have a certain number where I think the line is going to be. So therefore I'm waiting for it. And I found it and I took it immediately and I went to bed in a happy camper. They almost covered it by themselves. They scored 118 points. The line was 140 or 145. Do you have a specific card, Greg, besides college basketball, or you don't have any college? Any besides NBA, you don't have any college basketball? You said right?
Yeah, no, I didn't really dive into college basketball.
All right.
I haven't really paid too much attention this season outside of just the scores at the end of the game and taking Belmont.
Yep. So I'll just run through my card because I know Morgan. He looks like he's still a little bit out of breath from his 10-minute speech.
Pacing, Mike.
Yeah, you need to work on your breathing techniques. A little woo-saw, For the NBA special, I'm gonna go with the Lakers minus 2.5 against the Clippers. We talked about it. Same thing with the Mavs. We talked about all these games. A lot of these, like I told you, I'm gonna ride with Morgan for at least a little bit. But I knew I wanted to take the Knicks early season. I talked about it very briefly. Thibodeau is a guy who tries to get the most out of his players. I think that's especially if they play young, that's gonna be a scrappy bunch that's gonna want to prove something. I don't think the Pacers are all that good. We talked about how the Bucks line should be a different line. It should at least be a 5-6. Same thing with the Hawks and the Heat. But they're giving out money early in the season, I feel like. And I'll be looking out for plenty of lives. I'm off all day tomorrow, so I'll probably have like 5 or 6 live bets and in the Lakers game. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe I'll tweet one out. But as far as college basketball, my bread and butter, I'm about to go over. If you don't count pushes, me and Morgan are both sitting just above 50%, which is for non-conference is really not all that bad. Especially the amount that I've bet. I've bet pretty much half the games this year. So I'm gonna go. The line moved the second that I typed it in is Iowa -7 versus shitty Purdue, and I'm also going to take the over at 156. I take that over up to 170. Really, they're gonna come out very hot. Garza is mad that they just got beat up on. Me and Morgan were both on the wrong side of that. They're just a better team. They're going to score 100. As far as the over goes, is whether Purdue can put up 56. That's all there is to it. But Iowa can't play defense, so therefore we're hoping that happens. My homeboys, my Long Island natives, Hofstra +14 versus Richmond. I'm a big Richmond guy this year, but Hofstra does one thing better than anybody else in the country in the last 3 seasons, and that's cover basketball games. There's nobody better than them. As simple as that. You give them double-digit points, they're going to cover it. Operation Fade Chicago State is in effect against Iowa State. It doesn't matter. It could be a 40-point game. Iowa State, like me and Morgan talked about it before we started recording, they're an honest sports program. In any sport, they show out. They play well.
This podcast is very pro moral institutions.
Yeah. Unlike what institution? Go ahead, just get it out.
I want to get into this because I can go into this round forever.
No, just give it quick. Go ahead. I know you want to say it.
Let's talk about these morally corrupt institutions that we can find down in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
There it is.
Bums who put their student athletes through fake classes so that they can pass and get their degree. Unacceptable.
Listen,
lock them up, throw them in jail. I'm out of them. You
want to know the truth about D1 athletes? Most of them don't go to class, buddy.
Most of them don't go to class. At least they just don't show up. I don't need a school pretending that they're showing up.
Anyway, Operation Fade Chicago State. I talked about our first podcast. They're the worst, top 3 worst team. There's Arkansas Pine Bluff, who lost by, I don't know, how much they lose to by Baylor today?
A lot.
70. Who else? Chicago State.
Right side of that. This guy.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was like, that's a big line, dude. I don't know. I liked it. I was like, I don't know, man. Like,
how much was
he
it?
threw me off.
I think it was 38.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he took a 41.5 and convinced me to do it very last second.
I came so close to getting it, too.
Bro, Gonzaga was down. Gonzaga was up 20 with 3 minutes left. They went on a 19-0 run to end the game. Like,
I came so close.
You can't make it up. I take this line all the way up to 35. I still don't see it. Morgan, if you can check real quick on DraftKings, let me know if you see it. I'm just going to keep moving on in the meantime.
Who's this we're looking up?
Iowa State versus Chicago State. I'm taking Texas Tech against Oklahoma, and I'll also be taking the under, I think it's 136. Texas Tech is a much better team. You were on the wrong side of that when they played Kansas. I tried to tell you, didn't listen to me. The under, that I talked about it last week. They're the best defensive team outside of Tennessee, who really hasn't really played anybody. So it's hard to say that they're the best defensive team. But they're third. Excuse me, I'm choking. In the country, and points against, and still under 60, under 55. So I'm all over that with the under. Chattanooga, one of my teams I ride with no matter what. Anything under 5, it's a 4.5 right now against Tennessee State. I lock that in. Eastern Kentucky -6.5 versus High Point. High Point stinks. My high school team could beat them. Murray State -2.5. It's free money on that one, I believe. You have that update for me yet or no?
I'm still looking.
This kid is fucking useless. Morgan has a 60-game card that we're really not going to go over. What else we got? I don't hate the Virginia under. It's at 124. I want to see where it goes. I'll pass on it. If
I can't find
comes to it
anywhere. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine. I'm double checking as we speak.
Giving up on it.
You give up on a lot of things. Yeah, it's down. Virginia under's down to 122. I probably wouldn't touch it. I just wanted to see if that Binghamton line changed because Binghamton really stinks. They are terrible. It hasn't changed. That's about it. We'll be back in a couple days, so I'll have plenty more picks. Morgan, you want to go into your 50-game card? Besides the NBA, because you already went over it.
I hope you all are comfy because we're going to be here for a while. All righty. So aside from all of our NBA plays, which I won't roll back into, if you want to see the NBA plays, check out @BettingDiagonal on Twitter. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube. We will be on there. All these plays will be posted on there. But let's get into the college basketball. Then we're going to get into a little bit of soccer action, and then we're going to get into a little college football.
Before you start, I want to add something real quick. West Virginia +2. Go ahead.
All right. We're going to start it off with a little layup here. A nice little tootsie that we can just drop in the rim and finger roll. We're going to take the Virginia money line. You got to start off strong. Get the mojo flowing in your direction so you're feeling good at the end of the night. Then we're going to take Toledo -16. I can't tell you who these teams are against because I didn't write that down. So after that, we will take Hofstra. We're going to roll with Billy on this one. Hofstra +14 against Richmond. I do like that pick a lot.
I would like to say I am undefeated in betting on Long Island basketball teams.
I'd hope that you
now
at least
6-0
tomorrow on betting undefeated Long Island basketball teams.
6-0. Toledo's playing Northern Illinois, by the way.
Thank you. Northern Illinois. Lock it in. Toledo's my boys. We roll with Toledo all day. Tulane +6.5. We're going to roll one more money line down there. I don't think I have another one, but it's possible because we got about 20 more plays on this card. VCU money line tomorrow. We're going to roll Missouri, the Mizzou, -10.5. In bold caps, right there out in front of your face, underneath the shining stars, NC State Wolfpack, -1.5 against that morally corrupt institution from Chapel Hill. Those Tar Heels, those losers, they stink.
I don't hate that bet, actually. I actually kind of like it.
Don't get me started on that. I can do an entire podcast just about
Keep it moving.
At school. Anyway, we're going to roll North Dakota +15. Wichita State +2.5. Georgia -10. Maryland -15. Now, tomorrow I will make sure that I have whom these teams are playing listed for there. Pittsburgh +1.5.
Louisville stinks.
I'm going to skip the next one, honestly, because I don't know who my abbreviation stands for.
Wisconsin. Wisconsin -17.
Okay, Wisconsin -17. The Wizoo, as I like to refer to them as now. Vanderbilt +8.5. Houston -16.5. West Virginia +2.5 against Kansas. I am also going to take the under in that game, under 140.
I'm going to wait for that under personally because I think it's going to go up because
it might. If it does, I will absolutely grab it again. I will grab it a second time right before tip-off. I'm going to roll with Gonzaga again, -39. They won by 39 tonight. We're going to roll with 39 tomorrow. I got good faith in those guys. We're going to take Iowa -7. I just updated that line. That's what Billy's getting it at. I'm going to come in and get it at that line as well. If by chance you can somehow grab a college player prop, I implore you to take Luka Garza over whatever the hell his points are. He is going to smash it. I don't care if it's 21. I don't care if it's 31. I don't care if it's 41. Hell, I don't care if it's 51. He's going to smash that over coming out of there. His team just got disrespected by Gonzaga. Tier rankings just came out. His team fell to 4th in the rankings. Another ranking that came out with CBS Sports had them as a second-tier team, as a championship contender, not a championship or bust team. This is his shot. This is what he's got right here. Last play I'm going to have for college basketball is going to be Grand Canyon +12.5. Moving on to the pitch on the football side of things. We're going to move to some La Liga action. We're going to have Atletico Madrid +135 to win. I don't know what the heck that noise just was. And then we're going to take Barcelona minus 240. I hate Barcelona. Barcelona is another morally corrupt organization. Absolutely hate them. We rock with Real Madrid here on betting diagonal.
Yes, sir.
Barcelona, they suck. However, I cannot deny that Messi is a stud. He is one of the greatest of all time. He will only be there for one more year. I still will roll with Barcelona in this game. Then we're going to go back to the other football field, the college football field, where we're going to have 2 games playing tomorrow night. One of them being a first-round hopeful, a Heisman hopeful. I don't think he'll win it, but he's a Heisman hopeful. Zach Wilson leading his BYU squad out there. I like them minus 6.5. I'm also going to take the Nevada Cougars plus 2.5. And that will be the beginnings of the card for tomorrow. We will have about a 60-play card tomorrow.
I don't doubt it. Me and Morgan are working on something. I don't want to give it out, Morgan. I don't want to tell him what it is yet. We're working on something really fucking fun that I feel like I want to wait till there's more, at least of a following on Twitter, so people can vote on who they think will win. But I want to do it. Like, we should just run it by ourselves first, see how it goes. But we're gonna run a whole card, every game of the day.
It's going to be a beautiful day. I have never been more excited for anything in my life.
Yeah, he was talking a little shit to me in the fantasy basketball chat, saying how I was a worse handicapper than him, even though I played 45 more games than him.
Stats don't lie. Stats
don't lie.
Stats put me as the greater better.
Not after tomorrow. If you have a 30-game card, including
that 30-game card, I'm going to go at least 20-10 tomorrow.
Yeah. I know for a fact next year on Twitter I do want to put up units. This way it's more accurate. There's games I do have more money on. I talked about it last week. I put fucking 12.5 units on Iowa fucking over. And
for all of those who are first-time viewers who are learning and getting used to the gambling game, we will take the time as we bring units into this to really go over units with you guys, so that way you understand what unit is. You know, it's something that you got to kind of – we want – like we've said previous podcasts before, we want to share our love for gambling with all of you guys. This is something that we do because we absolutely love doing it, not just the fact that we are straight up degenerates who just can't help ourselves. We just genuinely enjoy this. And when we have the opportunity to share this with somebody, you know, it's something that we very much enjoy doing. So we will make sure that when that time comes, we do dive into, you know, what units are, so that way when you decide to put your bets in there, whether it's DraftKings, FanDuel, Barstool, you name it, you got it. You'll understand what you're doing.
Absolutely. And just going off, like, we love to do this. Like, the second I met you, the first thing you said to me, after Jared introduced, it was like, oh, he's a betting guy. The first words that came out of his mouth, I think I said it before, was that, he's like, Dolphins money line for the entire house. And Greg here is the only person I would know that would drive to AC right now. Like, if there wasn't a pandemic, if I called him like, hey bro, you want to go to AC, he'd drive there right now with me. So I mean, that's why he's here with us. Is he still here with us? I haven't heard from him.
I think he died on us.
Oh jeez, Greg, I just tried to give you a compliment. Again, you died.
For those listening who will be listening to this, there is big plans in the future. There will be some special betting the diagonal trips to AC, to Vegas, to get some fun bets in there. We'll hit your favorite sports book. You know, if we happen to be there and you're there, you know, stop by, say hi to us, you know, give us your picks. You know, maybe we'll roll with you. Maybe you're hotter than we are right now. You know, Billy. It's
not hard to do, Morgan. To be honest with you, buddy, it's not hard to do. I've gone about 50% every day the last 2 weeks.
You know, Billy stinks. You know, I'm pretty decent. You know, so maybe it's better if I roll with you instead of Billy. And I'm fading him right now, and it's working pretty good for me. But
the NFL, I've been murdering, absolutely annihilating. Besides, I pushed 2 games on Sunday, but the week before I went 8-3-1.
Not a bad
Nobody
week.
does that. Very few people can beat the NFL like that. You had the Browns -3, +3. What a joke.
I did.
But we should totally close this out. We've been talking way too long, Morgan. We're almost on 2 hours, buddy.
It's a beautiful day. This is going to be a great podcast for you guys. You know, we really, if you have other specials that you want to throw in there, let us know. Throw some in the comments. You know, this is something that it's a big day. You know, there's a lot of people who, like I've already said previously, I think gambling against the NBA is a very much easier, especially if you're learning how to gamble, if you're learning the ins and outs of the lines, of the spreads, of the money line, of the over-unders, whatever it happens to be. I think the NBA is a great way to learn how to gamble. So, you know, I think a lot of you guys are really going to enjoy this episode and what we have cooking for you in the burner right now. We've got some great ideas marinating up there in the brains. Mm-hmm. My brain's spinning a little bit more. Billy's is, I don't know where the heck that thing has.
Mine's up in the clouds after. I'm just waiting for conference play. That's all.
We've teased it 1,000 times before, but tournament play gets here. We are super stoked. We might have to do even a 24-hour podcast / stream as we bet every single game. That card, you thought I had a big card today. Just wait and see what's down the line coming for me.
Listen, guys, real quick before we close it out, I just want to say that, A, there's no chance you're listening to us 2 hours in. If you are, God bless you, and hit me up. I will Venmo you $5 for that, because there's no way you just listen to Morgan talk about absolutely nothing for 2 hours. But besides that, we appreciate you listening, and I had something to say. But I had to make fun of you.
That was your first mistake. You can't make fun of this.
Anyways, close it out, Morgan. I forgot what I was going to say.
I think
shout out to Greg, who's not here with us anymore.
Greg, yes. Thank you for Greg jumping in with us this evening. It was great to have another fresh voice in here. Jared, thank you for jumping in for that 5-second, FaceTime that we had. We're going to see if we can get him in here to be, our patsy, our little pawn that we just throw jokes at back and forth. Jared is, a very near and dear friend to both of us, and he's very interested in the gambling game. I get a text at least once a week. Give me your parlay of the week. Give me your plays of the week. I want to make money, kind of thing. So, and even after we brought him on with the FaceTime this evening, he was texting me he would like to get in on our next show. We're going to see what we can do, see if we can get him in here. See what he can bring to the table. He's a funny guy. He might not have the best picks or anything for you. If you're watching this, I highly recommend fading every pick he gives you. But he'll give you some content. He'll give you some laughs, and that's what we want to do. We want to provide you guys with some laughs. So check us out. Keep tabs what we're doing. Put the notifications on at Betting the Diagonal on Twitter. We are live every single day. We are throwing picks in there every single day. You will see Billy and I going back and forth with one another. I always come out on top. That's what I do. I am always going to win. That's what I'm a winner, baby. Billy's a winner too, but at the end of the day, there can only be one. It's this guy. You can also check us out. Like I said, we are now on Spotify. We are live listening. You can listen in. If you listen into this 2-hour mark, and I'm going to say the word pineapples right there, and you DM me and tell me that you just heard the word pineapples, I'm going to give you a special shout out next pod. I might even do a little something extra for you if you just let me know who you are. But yeah, check us out. We have some great things going. Check out Fantasy Football Degenerates. Season's winding down, but we got some great things cooking for y'all.
Yes, sir. I just want to say real quick about the Fantasy Football Degenerates. 2 years in a row, our number one listener is playing for the championship. The kid who I know listens week in and week out religiously has been fighting for his championship year after year after year. We, as dumb as we sound, me and you, this is how we talk on FFD. The content we put out goes underrated because people are hearing us just talk shit to each other. But they're not, that people don't always understand, we get giving out knowledge, giving out free money. And that's what we're doing out here.
We're trying to help you. We are trying to give what we know and our knowledge and pass it along. We don't want to hog this. We want everybody to enjoy. The more people who get in this, the better lines we're going to get at the end of the day.
Amen, brother.
You get in there, brother. Put your money into this and bring the lines back in our favor. It's just only going to help one another out.
Yeah, that's it. Until next week, you degenerates, best of luck, and we will see you after Morgan loses all of his money.
And if I do, I will be back here crying to you next week, but I'll still have some more picks for you.
All right, boys. Good luck.
Take it easy, fellas.